viewers, you're watching Our Defense with me, Rakshita Mishra. Let's get started with the top defense stories of the day and the week that we're tracking for you. The conduct of Exercise Trishul is nearing its end on the 10th of November, but a direct impact of Operation Sindoor has been that the armed forces have moved from isolated bite-sized strikes to sustained multi-domain readiness. And this new posture is visible in a spate of large overlapping exercises and the NOTAMs, of course, that have been issued in this regard across India's strategic frontiers. Operation Sindoor, ladies and gentlemen, may sharpen the planning, the jointness and the rapid response routines that the services are now exercising at this scale, in fact. From the western seaboard to the high passes and the Chicken's Neck too. India, through Exercise Trishul, has seen rehearsing a full spectrum war fighting playbook. The scale is telling. Multiple commands of the Army and the Air Force and all three naval commands have been looped into what seems more than war gaming. The might of the Trishul as India flexes military might. Take a look. So Indian armed forces have sent this very, very clear message that the era of reactive defense is over. It shows that India is evolving its military doctrine from the traditional cold start framework towards a more proactive and technology integrated cold strike approach. Now, what's the cold start doctrine? It was developed post 2000s Operation Parakram that was aimed at enabling rapid mobilization of Indian forces for limited swift offensive into Pakistani territory. However, now with evolving times and especially with Operation Sindoor, it's an evident change that has been put to practice. A pivot to cold strike, which builds on but departs from cold start by prioritizing preemptive shaping of the battlefield, cognitive disruption and escalation control rather than reactive mobilization. Cold strike, therefore, can be imagined as warfare in 12 to 24-hour cycles. Now, what is India demonstrating, viewers, with Exercise Trishul? That is what is being showcased, that cold strike principles through joint Army, Air Force, Navy operations, testing resilient command systems and preemptive maneuvers. Trishul demonstrates that future conflicts will be shaped by technological agility, integrated joint operations, and the ability to dictate escalations on India's own terms. And for more, to get a sense of what really is the idea behind it, and to understand the message being sent and how does really help India, practically speaking, we have defense expert Lieutenant General Shaukin Chauhan joining us on the broadcast, former DG of Assam Rifles. A very warm welcome, sir. Honor to have you on Our Defense. So with Trishul, it's called something that has not been seen in the longest time. It's a tri-service exercise, sir. Pakistan is rattled. But, sir, do you feel that with this, India is trying to not only send out a message of readiness, but for itself too, that India will not just be engaged in limited operations, but there is a doctrine shift, if you could explain, sir.
Good afternoon to you, Rakshita. Thank you for calling me on your show. As you're aware that prior to my commanding the Assam Rifles, I was the GOC of one corps, that is the Strike Corps. And this Cold Start Doctrine is very close to our heart. We envision, as you're aware, Viksit Bharat by 2047. And for any developed country, the foundation for a developed country are secure borders, stable internal security elements. And therefore, the Indian Army ensures both, as you're aware. Exercises like Trishul are just one of the many exercises that we've had over so many years and we'll continue to have. But this particular exercise, actually, as you said, has, gets all the three services together: the Navy, the Air Force, the Army, and also we have the Coast Guard. And along the coastlines of Gujarat, the coastlines of Maharashtra, and further down south to Kerala, we also have the Navy doing the similar exercises. So not only is the exercise being done in the Rann of Kutch, not only is it being done in the desert, but it's also being done all along the coastline. This actually shows greater jointness. We are using more indigenous systems, more innovations. And this is actually the acronym that I would use here is JAY, the acronym that we would use: Jointness, Atmanirbharta, and Innovation, which is actually the acronym used by our Prime Minister. The Army, as you are aware, is transforming fast. We have drone platoon, we have loiter munition units, we have the Akashdeep network, we have new technology, new formations. It's a whole new ball game. And yes, warfare is changing very soon, and multi-domain warfare is what we have to fight tomorrow. So that's change that's taking place, Rakshita, right. And it will continue to happen. We will continue to evolve, and as we take this further and further, the jointness between the Indian Armed Forces, the Air Force, the Navy, the Army, and the Coast Guard will become even better.
Right, sir. General Chauhan, just stay on with us, because it's another big development that has happened is in the northeast now. Indian Air Force is expected to conduct large-scale drills, and the NOTAM has been extended for the same by Air Force. From 13th to 20th of December, mega drills are expected as far as the Air Force is concerned. And in fact, we was nearly all frontline fighter jets, including the Sukhoi 30, Mach 1, Rafale, Mirage 2000, along with air defense units and integrated surveillance grids will be participating over there. And a NOTAM has been issued, as I just told you, across the northeastern airspace to ensure civilian air traffic safety, viewers. And of course, we also will talk about Purvi Prachand Prahar. That is the exercise, the tri-service exercise that is going to take place in the northeast region with focus on Arunachal Pradesh. A big message to China, by the way, viewers. Let us just show you what really is this NOTAM, this exercise about, viewers. Now, Air Force, this is the region where this is a Siliguri corridor. The Siliguri corridor, the Chicken's Neck, is very, very strategically important, and we've seen how Bangladesh has been trying to provoke along with Pakistan when it comes to this corridor. So the airspace reservation for this exercise, Air Force exercise from 13th to 20th November, is active for certain hours here. This is the region, this Sikkim region and the Chicken's Neck. And airspace reservation for exercise 17th to 19th of November. This is the Arunachal area. That is also of utmost importance when it comes to China. So China is also on alert after this NOTAM. This is the region of the Tawang, India. This is the Tawang region, and India-China clashes were reported in 2022. So this is also important, as I was telling you. Sikkim, this is the region. India-China border clash 2020. Everybody remembers that. The Doklam area also lies just there, the area. and the border tensions that happen between India, China and the Bhutan region. So these are the areas that will be covered for these military exercises. The NOTAM have been extended for the same just on Friday, viewers. So why are these drills in the region significant? The northeast sits at the intersection, as I was telling you, of the key border flashpoints with China, especially areas like the Doklam and the Tawang, where tensions have repeatedly flared over the past decade. And Air Force's unrestricted airspace during this exercise ensures that it can conduct high altitude maneuvers, because the terrain is different, and a rapid response missions without civilian traffic constraints. And this region also contains the Siliguri corridor, as I was telling you, what is often called the chicken's neck, that narrow 22-kilometer strip that we showed you, 22-kilometer land that connects northeast to mainland India. And any threat here risks isolating over 50 million citizens. Several key military installations are there, and that's why it becomes very, very important. I'll go back to General Chauhan on this again. Now, this is, of course, General Chauhan, this is a broader message of deterrence that is being sent out. At the same time, you know, what's been happening on the Eastern Front with Pakistan, ISI and Bangladesh, the tango that is right now going on, sir. And of course, China also continues to remain, even though there is there's a cautious reset in the ties. India is sending out a message, sir, on all fronts, not just on the northwest frontier, but to China and to Bangladesh on the east as well.
Rakshika, I am indeed intrigued by your choice of words. I must firstly reassure our viewers that the chicken's neck is not such a vulnerable place at all. We have enough formations within the Siliguri area, within the North Bengal area, I would call it, because North Bengal is, has Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh on three sides of it. And though that narrow corridor is 22 kilometers, but it's a corridor that we can increase and get to 60, 70 kilometers within 2 to 3 days. So I'm certain that Bangladesh or any other country, Pakistan or ISI, will absolutely make no difference to our defense preparedness. Notwithstanding that, we need an exercise like that every couple of years. We need to be clear about our strategic points. We need to be clear about our vulnerable points. And exercises like this do exactly that. We exercise our logistic elements. We exercise our ability to move. We exercise our ability to mobilize, as well as, yes, you mentioned passing messages. It's a constant issue of messaging. But it should be, Bangladesh or Pakistan should be absolutely clear that we are India, right? We're 6 times the size of Pakistan, and I don't know how many more times the size of the Bangladesh situation. So there's no threat there. As far as China is concerned, that's Tibet. It's not China. It's not mainland China. They did come to Doklam. We stopped them at Doklam. We have now a situation with China where I do not think China will try and interfere here. She is helping Pakistan, yes. She's helping some rebels in Myanmar, yes. But beyond that, in the northeast, we haven't seen any indication of China doing anything. But we need to be prepared. We need our troops to be prepared. We need situations to happen. We have created more formations in the North Bengal area. We've created 3 extra formations now to deal with these threats. And the Indian Army is big, really big and professional. And I don't see any kind of threat there. And like I said, if Pakistan or Bangladesh imagine that they have the chicken's neck, or they can threaten our chicken's neck, let me tell them that we can take it away from them within 2 days. Absolutely within 2 days. It will not take more than 2 days for us to move the chicken's neck to a rhino's neck, really. So let them be warned about that. Over to you.
Shaukin Jahan, many thanks for joining us on the broadcast with your insights into this story that we are tracking on our defense. All right, viewers, now it's a major push for defense and Atmanirbharta also, especially how India is positioning itself as a defense exporter and a production and defense manufacturing, viewers. It's an important breakthrough now. There are two deals we're going to talk about, India-Armenia and India-Indonesia. Now, there is a major package of MOUs that is estimated to be between $3.5 to $4 billion between India and Armenia that could be signed soon. These agreements expected to cover a full spectrum upgrade of Armenia's military capability, including air defense systems, long-range artillery missiles and battlefield support platforms. Now, at the center of it all is India's Akash next generation air defense platform. Remember, that played a very important part. Akash missiles, remember, played an important part in Operation Sindoor, and Armenia is eyeing that. The Pinaka multi-barrel rocket launcher as well, and even possibilities of co-production of BrahMos cruise missile. But that's of course not the key part. But what it really means for both nations, Armenia has quietly repositioned itself as India's top defense buyer, a pivot that began after Yerevan posted its first defense attaché in New Delhi in May 2023. For India, this aligns with the larger Atmanirbhar Bharat trajectory, where the country transitions from being a major defense importer to a significant defense exporter. And in what other ways is this potential deal significant, viewers? India's defense partnerships with Armenia will also serve as a strategic counterweight to increasingly cohesive Turkey-Pakistan axis, which has evolved into a trilateral threat alongside Azerbaijan, remember, that directly undermines New Delhi's regional interests across the Eurasian plate, across Eurasia and South Asia. And this axis, solidified through decades of military collaboration, has escalated tensions. For Armenia, long isolated by closed borders with Turkey and Azerbaijan, these Indian deals offer not just diversification from Russian supply chain, but a lifeline of indigenous battle-tested systems. From India's vantage point, arming Armenia, one of its top defense export destinations, translates into multifaceted geopolitical leverage. It indirectly tests Indian hardware against enemy alliances, all while fueling the Make in India push towards a $26 billion defense industrial base. This alignment, far from mere commerce, is about a balancing act between economy and military. And also, viewers, another big defense deal, export agreement with Indonesia for the BrahMos supersonic cruise missile is in the works. Now, the deal, which has been under negotiation for several months, is awaiting a final clearance from Russia, which jointly developed the BrahMos with India. And once that approval is secured, New Delhi and Jakarta are expected to move quickly to sign the pact, marking one of India's most significant weapons exports to Southeast Asian nation. And Indonesia has been looking to strengthen its coastal defense posture amid rising tensions in the South China Sea and increased military presence by China in the region that, of course, India also aims to counter. For Indonesia, BrahMos offers a fast reaction, precision strike capability to protect critical maritime zones and strategic islands. For India, this agreement represents another milestone post-Operation Sindoor in its shift from being a major defense importer to becoming a serious exporter of high-end military technology. And if Indonesia becomes the next buyer, it will not only reinforce bilateral defense cooperation, but also signals India's growing role as a stabilizing force in the regional security. So the BrahMos is in demand, and several others, the arms and ammunition. And this is a direct impact of Operation Sindoor, viewers. It has in fact displayed. It's not just something that has been presented on paper. It has been proven on the battlefield, and henceforth, India is now positioning itself as a major player in the defense production and in defense export market as well. And meanwhile, India and Israel have also taken a big step forward in strengthening their defense partnership. Both the countries have signed a key memorandum of understanding that sets a unified vision for deeper cooperation across military domains. And the agreement was finalized during the 17th meeting of the Joint Working Group of Defense Cooperation held in Tel Aviv. Now, under this new framework, India and Israel will closely work on strategic dialogue, joint training programs, defense industry collaboration, and advanced capability development. The partnership will expand joint research and co-production efforts, especially in cutting-edge technologies like artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, innovative weapons systems, and next-generation military platforms. And the ministry has said that MOU will allow both sides to share high-end technology and create avenues for developing systems together instead of only trading equipment. All right, now shifting focus to more boost, in a major boost for Indian Navy viewers. The INS Ikshak has now been commissioned. It means the guide, and it is the third Indian-built survey ship in the Navy's SVL class. It was commissioned on 6th of November at Kochi by Chief of Naval Staff Admiral Dinesh Tripathi, and the ship can sail 6,500 nautical miles at 16 knots, having space for 231 crew, including the women officers. It's armed with a CRN-91 gun for defense. Ikshak maps the ocean floor up to 11,000 meters deep using advanced tools like multi-beam echo sounders, underwater drones and survey boats. This helps safe navigation, submarine operations and finding sea minerals. It can also act as a hospital ship during disasters with X-ray, ultrasound, a blood bank and emergency surgery facilities. With 80% Indian-made parts and fully Indian steel, Ikshak is the first SVL ship based in Southern Naval Command. It joins now INS Sandhayak and INS Nirdeshak, making India's seas safer and better understood. And more importantly, it strengthens India's control over its vast maritime zone, supports strategic operations in Indian Ocean, and boosts national security and economic interests by mapping resources and ensuring safe sea lanes. So that just make you understand why is INS Ikshak important. What is the significance of it? First of all, it is the new guide. It is the eyes of the Navy in the seas. Hydrographic surveys for high precision seabed mapping, and also it supports submarine deployment and anti-submarine mission planning as well. It can convert to a medical support role, as I just told you, for humanitarian missions as well. And you have seen that Indian Navy has been at the forefront of such missions and has been internationally recognized for it also. Helicopter deck also present on board, armed with the CRN-91 for self-defense as well. 80% of it, that's the most important point, 80% indigenous build under India's Atmanirbhar push. So 80% of the tech is made in India, and enhances the maritime domain awareness across key Indo-Pacific routes. So that, of course, another important point in Navy's new guide reflects inclusivity by establishing women's accommodation as well. So there is inclusivity also taken into account apart from Atmanirbharta, and it strengthens global hydrographic cooperation, making the sea routes navigable. So this is the visual when it was commissioned, and this is the INS Ikshak. It was a game changer in the seas. All right, viewers, so the game changer in the seas is here. We will leave you with the visuals of the same that has been released by the Indian Navy. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be right back with more on the next weekend. Thank you so much for watching. Jai Hind.